Hey everybody, I am with Azeem Azhar, who is the founder and the president of PeerIndex. So we've got a great opportunity to get some first-hand information about what is going on with the whole social scoring scene, which you know is a little bit close to my heart. Azeem obviously was one of the stars of the book, Return on Influence, some of my favorite quotes in the whole book. So Azeem, bring us up to speed. I think one thing that a lot of people are wondering about is this a lot of fluff, or is your company starting to get traction? How are you measuring progress, and what's really going on out there connecting what you do with real companies and brands?
Thanks, Mark. Well, great to meet you in person. We've had a great start to the year. We closed our Series A funding round a couple of months ago.
Right, congratulations on that. Yeah,
some really good investors backing us, and that came on the back of a very strong commercial pipeline and really a strong story about the importance of influence and how there's a return on influence for consumers and there's a return on influence for brands and for marketers. And what we're seeing out here in the UK is a lot of demand across Europe and a lot of demand actually coming from the US as well for our programs. We've actually had to turn stuff down because of capacity ourselves. So that's a good place to be. But this year is really going to be about execution for us as a company.
Okay. So this new round of funding, is that going to help you increase capacity, or what's your vision there?
Well, I mean, the funding for a company like ours goes to the people, right? It's a little bit of engineering, it's a little bit of sales, and it's about the execution and getting yourself to the next level, which is more scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in our conversation, you were talking about some of the really interesting dynamics, and you were saying how for many companies this is what was the word used? Deeply divisive, or
disruptive.
Disruptive, yes.
Yeah,
You're talking about how disruptive social scoring is for many traditional marketing and advertising organizations. So what are you seeing out there? What do you mean by that?
Well, I think it's disruptive for them because they've had a traditional way of approaching the problem, which is that they buy billboard adverts and banner adverts and adverts on TV, and if they want to make you aware of it, they buy those ads. Now, because the bulk of the industry is organized around buying media, that's how ad agencies and buying agencies and the clients are organized. Now, what social has gone off and done is social has said, well, look, there's a way of getting to the underlying decision processes that a consumer goes through when they want to buy a product, which is that they talk to friends here, they talk to friends there, they read a review, they read a review here, and that really disrespects your organizational structures. And so it's very challenging for them to respond. Now, this is digital, right? Digital has been doing this for 15 years, but social is making it really, really impactful. And the idea of doing it through influence, the idea that you can get brand-like effects, by which I mean the effects of a television ad, by engaging with a few hundred influencers.
Yeah.
That's very, very challenging because the TV budgets are over here and the guys who engage with people are over here, and the twain don't meet.
Yes.
So certainly for a company like ours, there's a lot of education. We've found the London agencies to have been very open-minded, very challenging at times, but very open-minded about having those conversations and starting to work with us.
And in a way, it kind of disintermediates some of their work too, right? I mean, doesn't that account for some of the resistance? Because this whole idea of determining and connecting influencers really has been behind the curtains of the advertising agencies.
Well, identifying the influencers has been something that parts of those agencies do, often within their social teams. But the influencers they identify tend to be very hand-picked guys at the top.
Yeah.
And we would say that PeerIndex is not about those guys at the top. We're about the magic middle. We're about running influencer programs that are not to 10 people, not to 25, but to 1,000, 2,000. And that isn't an area that they currently operate in. And so we would like to go to an ad agency, and we often do, and we say we're not here to cut into a PR budget or a blogger outreach budget. That's already an established program you have and you go off and run. So this is something new, and in many cases we're getting the budget from other parts of a client's account or for the ad agency.
Now, let's talk about how this is being viewed right now. What is the maturity of this new marketing channel, really? Okay, so I mean, are you starting to see budgets for social outreach, social scoring programs move from just beyond the experimental? Are brands starting to get more confident with being able to market this way, or is this still in kind of the silent movie stage?
Yeah. Well, it's at the point where, in most cases, you're living at an experimental budget within a larger campaign. But you are starting to see, and we are starting to see, companies who are thinking much more long term about how social scoring is going to help them. That often means that they end up starting with a simple program, but we understand how we're going to get to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And we are starting to see agencies come back to us wanting to do new pieces of work because other pieces of work are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are companies typically measuring the benefits of this? Is it still pretty much related to impressions, a traditional advertising measure, or are they starting to look at actual numbers and beginning to actually quantify the dollar value of these influencers?
Well, it depends very much who you're talking to. If you're purely in the heartland of the experimental budget, having the learnings and getting the report and the data is the really key piece. But then in other places, we're looking at people who are evaluating what we're doing in terms of the number of conversations, in terms of the peer index of the people going into those conversations, the number of impressions generated, the sentiment, and in the case of a couple of the e-commerce clients, also the uplift in sales from the influencer group.
Okay, outstanding. Well, Azeem, congratulations on your rapid progress with PeerIndex. And how can people find you on the web?
Well, my best way is on my Twitter account, which is at Azeem, Azeem, or to go to the PeerIndex website, which is www.peerindex.com.
Okay, thanks so much for your time today.